who is the best original six team in NHL 23? Today we're going to find out with a league that only has original six teams. So we're going to do past versus present. Our contestants today are the Boston Bruins alumni, Chicago Blackhawks, the Chicago Blackhawks alumni, the Detroit Red Wings alumni, Montreal Canadiens alumni, New York Rangers alumni, New York Rangers, Toronto Maple Leafs alumni, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to see which team EA Sports considers the best original six team. And we're going to be following the league from the perspective of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which means we'll probably only see the first round of the playoffs. I was hoping to be able to make 6-team conferences and have the present in one conference and the past in another, but that is not an option. We can just have all 12 teams in their own league, 0 conferences. We look at the league rankings. The Montreal Canadiens alumni and the Detroit Red Wings alumni are tied for top of the league, 97 overall team. And the Chicago Blackhawks present team is the worst in the league with an 83 overall team. The team we're going to be bringing into this league for the Toronto Maple Leafs is Bunting, Matthews, and Marner on the first line, Abe-Kubel, Tavares, and Nylander on the second line, Engvall, Kerfoot, and Kampf on the third line, and Gaudette, Järnkrok, and Simmons on the fourth line. I'm actually going to put Järnkrok on the third line and Kampf on the fourth line. And obviously Simmons and Gaudette are not on the team IRL, but this is the team we're rocking with today. We're hoping to at least make the playoffs, but it's not a guarantee. It's pretty easy for all the alumni team to make it. We're hoping that's not what happens. See you at the end of the regular season. And at the end of the regular season, only 2 teams on the current day roster have made the playoffs. And we are luckily one of them with the 8th seed, the final seed. The regular Boston Bruins have also made the playoffs. The seeding goes with this: Red Wings alumni, Rangers alumni, Canadiens alumni, Maple Leafs alumni, Blackhawks alumni, current Boston Bruins alumni, and the current Toronto Maple Leafs. We stole the last playoff spot from the current New York Rangers by 2 points. The Red Wings had 76 points, and the Blackhawks and the Montreal Canadiens were terrible, only getting 55 points. If only that translated to real life, because that sure isn't how it went down the other day. I can still see that Jake Muzzin pass in my nightmares. Leading your team in points is obviously Austin Matthews with 82, Marner had 69, Tavares had 60, 58 for Nylander, 54 for Bunting and Riley, 43 for Kerfoot, 41 for Abe-Kubel, and 38 for Järnkrok. And then goals, Matthews with 46, led by a large margin because the closest was Tavares with 24, Bunting had 21, Järnkrok had 20, so I'm glad we put him on the third line, 19 for Nylander, 18 for Abe-Kubel, 17 for Marner, 13 for Engvall, and 11 for Kerfoot. Morgan Riley led our team in points with 54, and the closest was Liljegren with 24. I didn't even look at the goalies and the defensemen when I was looking at the team. I just realized kind of an oopsie on my part, but Brody had 22 points, Giordano had 18, Muzzin had 15, and Hull had 14. And then goals, 7 for Liljegren led, 6 for Giordano, 5 for Muzzin and Hull, and then 4 for Riley. Goalies, we very much went with Samsonov as our starter. He played 73 games, 135, got 2 shutouts, a 9.06 save percentage, a 3.07 goals against average. Not ideal, but he got the job done. Murray, 14 games played, had a 9.16 save percentage and a 2.64 goals against average, but only won 3 games, so I guess you could say he's definitely worse, even though he had better stats. If you look at the entire league, the New York Rangers do have Wayne Gretzky, and he led the league in points with 91. Messier had 85. Matthews was in third with his 82. 80 for Yzerman and Gilbert. Marchand had 79. Rattel and Panarin had 76. And Gordie Howe had 75. And then goals, Gretzky led the league with 48. Matthews, 46, was good enough for second. 37 for Maurice Richard. 36 for Hull. 35 for Kane. 35 for Zibanejad as well. 32 for Marchand. 31 for Shanahan. And 30 for Shanahan. The most wins for a goaltender was actually Henrik Lundqvist with 40. The best save percentage of a starting goalie goes to Terry Sawchuk with a 9.22. 29 games played for Plant, he had the best in the league at a 9.23. When it comes to most games played to save percentage, I think Patrick Wall led with his 56 games played and a 9.21 save percentage. He also had the best goals against average for most games played with a 2.32 goals against average. But Sawchuk had the best goals against average in the league, playing 48 games. He had a 2.22 goals against average. So the Vezina race is going to be pretty tight, I think. The goalies were able to score, but Patrick Waugh had the most points with 5 assists, 3 assists for Johnny Bauer, 3 assists for Jacques Plante, 2 assists for Jake Allen, and then 1 assist for a bunch of other goalies. Actually, a lot of them. I'm assuming the Rangers or the Detroit Red Wings alumni squads are going to win the cup, but we have an opportunity. We are the worst seed in the playoffs, so we're going to be playing Detroit, I think. I feel like it's a first round exit. There it is. We enter game number 1 against Detroit, simming the first period. Luckily, somehow, we're up 2-0. Austin Matthews and Bunting score on Sawchuk. Second period, they come right back, though. I knew it was too good to be true. Abel and Lindsay beat Samsonov. 8 times speed. Gonna watch it play out. Probably a next goal win scenario, I would say. We get a power play, and we can't score. Get another power play. Still actually do score this time. Morgan Riley buries on Sawchuk. We just have to play defense. Why play defense when you can play offense? Matthews scores again. With 4 minutes remaining. 3, 2, 1. We take game one somehow. It's literally expecting to get swept, but that is not the case. Game number 2, first period, is 3-0 Detroit. This is what I was expecting in the first game. Robitaille, Yzerman, and Abel bury on Samsonov. Second period, they just make it worse. But they have Marcel Dion, too. That team is actually stacked. We're just going to stem the third period. Shanahan and Hall bury. Abe Cool gets us one, but in the end, it doesn't matter. We move on to game 3. I have to not let that game phase us. First period, tied 1-1. Mo and Marner scoring for both their respective teams. We are outplaying them with 15 shots to 6. Second period, we do take the league. Morgan Riley, second goal of the series. Could be a second game-winning goal of the series. That would be hype. When 8 times speed of the third period when it's close. We started it with a power play, but sadly cannot capitalize on it. 12 minutes remaining, and William Nylander puts us up by 2, but we give them a power play. We can't give them any breathing room. Luckily, we kill it off, and I think we're going to be fine unless they get 2 goals back-to-back really fast, which is not going to happen, and we are up in the series 2-1. We are 2 wins away from one of the biggest upsets in Simming Engine history. The current Detroit Maple Leafs. The current Toronto Maple Leafs beating Detroit alumni team in the playoffs. First period, game 4 is 2-1 Detroit. Deanna Lindstrom score. But Wayne Simmons, who isn't even playing on the team IRL, does bury on Sawchuk. Second period, sadly they're up 5-3. Pair goals from Howe. Matthews and Engvall getting it done for us. And 8 times speed until they score one more time and then probably call it. But we do make it a 1-goal game. Nylander scoring. We have so much time to tie it. But like Robitaille said, screw you. We're taking the 2-goal lead back. 8 minutes left. We need 2 goals. They're outplaying us so badly. So I think they kind of deserve this win. And they are going to get it with a 6-4 victory. Game number 5. Series tied at 2. This is a big one. And it's 2-0 Detroit after the first. Allman and Howe, but not Gordie Howe, do a bury on Samsonov. Second period is 4-2. Matthews gets a pair of goals for us, but Modano and Shanahan bury. Marner off the rip in the third, but then Modano right after. But then Yarncroc right after. This is a slugfest right now. Down by 1, we just killed a penalty, but we are running out of time. 8 minutes, 1 more goal, or we're screwed. We're going to be down 3-2 in the series. Have to win 2 games in a row, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. We lose 5-4 after a crazy start to the period. Look where his goal marker is. He scored from the corner. That's actually upsetting. I wish I could watch that goal. Elimination game, number 1 for us. First period is 1-0 Detroit. Ted Lindsay bearing on Samsonov. Period number 2 stays 1-0, and we play the third. I was about to say we really need to score fast, but they score fast. And we're down 2-0, and our season is bleeding away. We can't get any offense done. They're out shooting us by a lot. They get a power play. And it's just killing the clock at this point. We're going to get shut out in game number 6 and be eliminated in the first round, which is what I was expecting. But the way it started, it really looked like we had a chance. I'm going to look at our playoff stats before finishing the playoffs and seeing who wins the cup and looking at all that fun stuff. Matthews led our team with 10 points. 8 points for Marner. 6 for Tavares, 4 for Liljegren, 3 for Riley, Nylander, and Bunting, and then 2 for Engvall and Yarncroc, and rounding out the top 10 was Simmons with 1. Matthews led the team in goals with 5. Marner, Nylander, and Riley all had 2, and then 1 for Bunting, Simmons, Engvall, Yarncroc, Abe-Kubel, and that was it. Goaltending Samsonov wasn't very good, but mind you, he was playing one of the biggest super teams ever. A 3.69 goals against average, a 907 save percentage, only winning 2 of the 6 games. I mean, he kind of held his own. Obviously not good stats. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but considering who was playing, I was expecting it to be way worse. The finals looks to be the Boston Bruins versus the Detroit Red Wings, and the Detroit Red Wings alumni win the series. Surprisingly not. I was about to say surprising to no one. They were the best team by far. If we look at the playoff tree, it was the Toronto Maple Leafs alumni versus the Chicago Blackhawks alumni, and Toronto won 4-1, but then fell to Detroit 4-1. So Detroit played on their side of the bracket. Both Toronto teams beat us 4-2, beat the alumni 4-1. So we did better than the alumni at least. So update after looking, take a look at the Boston side of the bracket. Boston Bruins alumni, I looked into it, that beat the New York Rangers alumni 4-1. Then the current Boston Bruins beat the Montreal Canadiens alumni somehow 4-2. Then the current Boston Bruins beat the Boston Bruins alumni 4-3 to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals, but could not beat the Detroit Red Wings alumni team. Ranking original 6 teams in NHL 23, the Detroit Red Wings alumni is the best. The Boston Bruins current roster is actually the second best. And to round out the top 4 is the current Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins alumni. Marchand led the league with 20 points, 16 for Abel, 15 for Pasternak, 14 for Mihaljevic, only playing 10 games, 13 for Bergeron, 13 for Robitaille, 13 for Howe, 13 for Chelios, 13 for Krejci, and then 12 for Abork to round out the top 10. And then goals, Brett Hull led with 9, 7 for Mihaljevic, and 7 for Marchand. Mihaljevic obviously had a crazy playoff run, only playing 10 games, getting 7 goals, 7 assists. 6 goals for Marchand, Ullman, and Cashman, and then 5 for Abel, Matthews, and Coyle. And the top 10 is Middleton also having 5. And the final thing to look at today is the awards. Obviously, Detroit Red Wings are winning the Stanley Cup. Wayne Gretzky on the New York Rangers winning the Art Ross, also winning the Hart Memorial Trophy. James Norris goes to Paul Coffey on Detroit. Lady Bing Gretzky, Calder Kravtsov, Conn Smythe does end up going to Sid Abel, Patrick Roy capturing the Vezina, Terry Sawchuk capturing the William M. Jennings, Bill Masterton goes to Ben Sherratt. He does win that award a decent amount, at least in NHL 22, so not surprising there. The Jack Adam Award goes to the head coach of the Boston Bruins. Frank J. Selke goes to Wayne Gretzky as well. Ted Lindsay is actually going to Gilbert. That's the Player Association's MVP. And then the Maurice Richard going to Wayne Gretzky. And that is the past versus the present original 6 custom league. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.